The Chicago Bears moving on, and another year of Justin Fields. You got the new coach, though, so that's all good. Matt Eberflus coming in. What can they do? What can they put together here with their new front office?
Well, you've got to do something to help out Justin Fields. Going into this draft, biggest things for me, you've got to find a way to get a wide receiver because you can't go into the season with Byron Pringle and Darnell Mooney, not with Justin Fields. Mm-hmm. I don't love that they didn't address really anything with the offensive line, so that's a big deal. Another edge rusher would be nice. A series of needs and not as much capital as you would want.
Yeah, they don't have a first-round draft pick. Their first pick comes up in the second round, where they do have 2 picks, which is, if you're going to have 2 picks in the second round in any draft, this would be up there on the list of ones that you want those. Number 39 overall, Johann Dotson from Penn State. This seems like a little low for him.
Well, I mean, we say this every year. Receivers get pushed down. Chicago's going to be in a good position to get the guy that falls, whether it's Johann Dotson, Wan'Dale Robinson. There are a slew of receivers that you'll be able to get. The question is, which one do they like? Johann Dotson's the big play receiver that you're looking for. To me, he can run out of the slot with Mooney out wide, Pringle out wide. You've still got Cole Kmet that I like, David Montgomery. Now your weapons they're still not good, but that's a start. I still think they need to do something for a vet on the outside. I'm not wild about Byron Pringle. I'm looking at this going, surely to God you're not planning on him going in as your second outside guy next year. But the way things look now, it appears that way. This was the problem I had with trading up for Justin Fields. I think he would have fallen in your lap anyway because there were so many people that weren't sold on him. But now you don't have that first-round pick. All right, think if they had their first rounder, you would be looking more at a Drake London, or if he fell, which I don't think he will, but let's say for argument's sake, a Drake London, a Jamison Williams, a Garrett Wilson. Those are true ones. Johann Dotson's a 2, but he's a very high-end 2 that can run out of slot. He's got a little Tyreek Hill to him. I would argue he's a drastically better prospect coming out. He's not as top-end fast. Ran a 4.43 at the combine, 5'11", buck 85, so a little slender, but a very stereotypical slot guy. I like him a lot. It's just he is a slot. I don't think he's going to play much on the outside in the NFL.
Yeah. Can he be as good as my guy who came out of Penn State, Chris Godwin?
Can he be? Yes.
Okay.
I don't know that he'll ever be as complete of a receiver as Chris Godwin because he's not as big as him.
True.
But he's a better big play receiver than Chris Godwin was.
At number 48 overall, staying in the second round here for the Chicago Bears, Martin Emerson, cornerback out of Mississippi State.
This fits into the Bears' mantra of receivers, and I think he would be a good 2 on the other side of Jalen Johnson. The knock on him is going to be the footwork. He's got stereotypical size. I mean, 6'2", 200 pounds, ran about a 4.5, not overly fast, but very, very good in coverage. Sometimes his brain and his feet do not seem to work in the same accord. And he's not going to be your one. He's not going to line up with the Devontae Adams, DeAndre Hopkins of the world. But I think he can be very good, come in, start very early as a 2. To me, he's an immediate starter for the Chicago Bears.
Mm-hmm. Couple of picks coming up here with some meat to them. I like this one in the third round, 71 overall, Jamari Salyer out of the University of Georgia.
Well, the problem with not having that high-end pick is, all right, let's say offensive line was the problem that you wanted to fix. You would have had Trevor Penning and Charles Cross and a series of guys that could play on the left side, put Tevin Jenkins on the right. Well, you don't have that luxury. This is not a deep draft at tackle. So what do you look for when you take care of 2 of your bigger needs and now you have to address offensive line, which is deep, but it doesn't have the high-end prospects that you would find in the first 60 picks. A guy that's got a lot of versatility in Jamari Salyer. Played left tackle at Georgia. He's not playing tackle in the league. He's a guard. He's got short arms. To me, he's played every position on the offensive line. He's one of the only players in the draft you can say that about. And there's a lot of good to him. The problem is that in the NFL, I think he would get absolutely just bull rushed by speed guys. They would just eat him alive. So that's why I can't project him on the outside. I think he can be a starting guard immediately. That would leave you with Tevin Jenkins and Larry Borum on the outside. I'm going to level with where you're picking. I think that's probably your best bet if you don't invest the money in a free agent somewhere, which is it's still entirely possible. Free agency is not over. The big surge has happened. There's no Teron Armstead. There's no, as of right now, there's been no interest with Dwayne Brown. So now you're going to have to make the best of a bad situation. Jamari Salyer is a versatile enough guy that he can be he's going to start somewhere, and in camp we'll figure out where that is.
Yeah, we all know free agency is not over, despite the fact that we call these our post-free agency mock drafts here in the Sportsocracy. Check us out at the sportsocracy.com. Georgia run, they love to run the ball, and one of their big success pieces was Jamari Salyer on that offensive line.
And he's a great pass blocker. He would be a great asset to Justin Fields.
Yep. In the 5th round, 2 picks, separated by 2 slots here. At 148 overall, Otito Ogbonnia, defensive tackle out of UCLA.
He's a gigantic human being. The reason that you can get him here, he's a much better pass rusher than he is run stopper, which for a guy that's 6'4", 330 pounds, that's a little bit odd.
Right.
There's enough raw in him that I could see him being a long-time starter at nose tackle in the NFL. The problem is that I don't know what you're going to have to do to get that out of him. He had enough snaps in college. For him, it's not raw. It's just he's more athletic than he is strong. The technique lacks at times, but there's a lot of good raw in him. He just doesn't eat smaller linemen like you would expect him to. A lot of good pass rush moves right now. I think in an NFL strength and conditioning program, you can kind of mitigate some of the. It's not deficiencies because he's not necessarily bad against the run. It's just he's not the run stuffer. Usually you draft 330-pound offense or defensive lineman. That's a guy that's going to be your run guy.
Yep.
That's not what he does.
At 150 overall, Dominique Robinson, edge rusher out of Miami of Ohio.
I am drunk as Gary Busey plastered on Dominic Robinson. Got a great story. Very, very athletic. He's 6'4", 255. I think he can stand up. I think he can play very quickly. He's got great anticipation. The level of competition's a problem. He's very athletic, but he's not as shifty as you want for a 3-4 start immediately outside linebacker. I think he would be a pass rush specialist to start with the anticipation that he would be a 3-down outside linebacker moving forward. I'm not going to sit here and tell you that he's going to be Khalil Mack.
Right. I was going to say, will he ever be seen as the replacement for Khalil Mack?
Could he be the replacement? Yes.
Okay.
It's going to take some time. He is raw. There's a lot to like, but there's going to have to be some patience as well. He would be great value at this point, though. Mm-hmm.
The final pick for the Chicago Bears in the 2022 NFL Draft comes at 186 overall. Spencer Burford, tackle out of UT San Antonio. Go Roadrunners.
You remember all those things I just said about Jamari Salyer?
Uh-huh.
Oh, God.
Oh, you broke it.
There it is. Whole ham hands. 6'5", 295 pounds, very athletic. He's got the short arm problem. Probably, I think, his best prognostication for the NFL is as a guard. Now, could he play tackle? Yes, because he's fleet of foot enough, in spite of the fact he ran a 5.2 at the combine. I never thought the day would come that 5.2 would be, he's so slow. He's 300 freaking pounds.
Mm-hmm.
He's not the road grader necessarily that you're looking for. To me, he can be in a more spread type offense. He could be a tackle because he is good on his feet. That whole dancing elephant thing. The problem with him is that I don't think he's ever going to be a mauler. So when you get into the strength edge rushers that just try to go right in your face, he could struggle with that. Immediately, he could slide in at guard. He could slide in as a swing tackle. This is just a piece on the line. When you only have 6 picks and you have this many needs, you're going to have to draft for value, keeping in mind what you need. This team needed to come out of this draft with 2 offensive linemen, a receiver, an edge guy, somebody that can play on the inside of that defense, and a corner. And in 6 picks, that's the best I could do. Ryan Poles might be able to do a better job than I did, but I would, if I was a Bears fan, I would walk away from this very happy.
Chicago Bears haven't done much in free agency. Still time. Still guys out there that you could probably add to this roster, but
they're taking the slow approach because
yes.
they were in a very aggressive cap situation. They were in a situation against the cap that made it look like they were competitors when they weren't. This is not a contender to win the Super Bowl. The problem is that you have a very limited time frame with Justin Fields because he's not a quarterback that came in ready developed. He needs to be developed. And to do that, you're going to have to put him in the best situation possible. If there's one thing that I would personally change, I would walk out of this with 2 receivers. But where they lined up and how this draft went, it just didn't work that way. Mm-hmm. If you like these picks for your Chicago Bears, if you don't, feel free to leave those in the comments. If there's a player you would like to know how they fit with the Bears, leave those in the comments. I answer those every day. There were a slew of players I looked at for the Bears. Probably not a team that I put more time into what they would do than the Bears because they had such limited capital.
The Sportsocracy post-free agency 7-round mock drafts roll on.
First wave.
That's right.
Which means we're on to the second wave.
With Pauly Shore and Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Second wave.
We appreciate everybody tuning in for this one. We do each and every team. So you want to see more teams? All you got to do is just stick around.
Yeah, stick around and literally play. It'll probably be right over my head.
Share it out with your friends, too. Tell them that their team will be covered here in the Sportsocracy. I'm Tank Spencer. He's Jeremy Greene. Yep. We're always from the Ingles studio. Low prices. Love the savings. We'll see you next time.